Hello, welcome to Shad Life. Today I'm going to talk about pedals. Mainly, do you ride clipped in or do you ride platforms? I'm going to talk about my preference and why I choose which ones I do. I actually ride both, but I want to get a little more into detail. So, here are three different pedals. I have so many pedals because I got a bunch of bikes, so these are just three examples. We'll talk about this middle category in a moment. If we go over here on the right, this is a Time clipless pedals. When I am clipped in, I absolutely swear by Time pedals. They've been my favorites for a long time. When I first got started in clipping in, I used to use the Shimano SPD, but I found that I would get stuck a lot. And then I also had a hard time clipping in. I was actually in Fruita, Colorado. It was like mid 2000s. I was trying to do this hop up thing up a rock, and I had SPDs on, and I didn't make the hop, and I fell over, and my ankle got pinched on the rock, and I was just super pissed. And my friend at the time, JJ, I have no idea if he watches my channel, but if he does, I'm calling him out. He works for Eric's Bike Shop right now. He had an extra pair of Times, and he told me Times were better, and he loaned me his Time pedals, and I put them on and never went back. I've always been using Times. I'd say Times and Crank Brothers have a very similar system. I feel like Times just have a little bit more float and a little bit wider bar, so they tend to work better. But I know a lot of people that use Crank Brothers, and they really like those too. So that's it. Then we'll come over here to platforms. Modern platforms have gotten really good. These are the Wolf Tooth waveforms. These have an aluminum body. I also have pedals that have composite bodies, but both have metal pins. And the composites are actually a little bit lighter, so if you're looking for weight savings, that's the way to go. The aluminums, they're going to be stiffer, like you won't feel any flex with aluminum, and they're just going to be overall more durable. I have hit the composite pedals pretty good and cracked them and so on. I've knocked pins out of them and things like that. I think this is going to be much more durable, and these are a little over a year old now, and they're still looking pretty good. Although I put these on my titanium Hey Duke, which doesn't see a lot of the gnarly stuff that I do, like what I do on my Rustler. My Rustler have composite pedals. There's also a cost difference. These are about $200. Most composite pedals, make sure you get ones that have sealed bearings, are going to be $50, $60, something like that. So it's definitely a savings. Just make sure you get composite pedals that have metal pins. That's really important if you're mountain biking and want really good traction. Which brings me over to this pedal. So what is this? Well, this is what I call a BMX pedal. So this is a composite pedal without metal pins. You really don't want this kind of pedal for mountain biking. They just don't have the traction. And why are they such a big deal in BMX? Well, a couple of things. You're crashing a lot. You're slipping pedals, things like that. BMX is a lot more like demanding because you're trying to do tricks and things like that. And, you also reposition your foot. You take your foot off often if you're doing tricks and you're doing like 1-footers, no footers, different tricks, tail whips, all these things, right? So what you want in a case like this is you want a pedal that grips pretty good, but you don't want it to have what I call like a death grip, like these pins and stuff. Because if you were using a pedal like this for a lot of BMX riding, you'd get pretty beat up by these pins. So that is why these are popular with BMX. And, if you wear a pair of like Vans, skater or BMX style shoes, in these pins, you're actually going to have pretty good traction, enough to ride BMX and things like that. And you're not bombing down hills and going over a bunch of bumps and chattery things that are going to knock your feet off, like you'll have happen here, right? So yeah, these are BMX pedals. These are what I would consider mountain bike pedals. And then, mountain bike slash, gravel. Road bikers usually use a little bit different pedal, but I don't ever use road bike pedals. I don't like them. They're usually one-sided and they take a lot more to engage into. I generally just ride clipless on my gravel bikes and stuff. I don't really have a road bike because I use my gravel bike as my road bike. So when do I use which pedal? Well, this one is obvious. I said BMX. That's on my BMX bike. My DJ bike also has pedals like this, right? And then this is what I mostly ride. This is the most common setup, either aluminum with metal pins or composite with metal pins on my mountain bike. And then I wear a very specific shoe. Shoes are important here. 510, like really soft, grippy sole shoes when I use these pedals. Vans, which are still pretty grippy, but not as grippy as like 510s and things like for this. Any shoe that I do is going to be a flat shoe. I do not wear like running type shoes with a complex tread pattern. You don't want to be wearing those kind of shoes with pedals like this. You definitely want a flat soled shoe that's designed for flat pedals. Over here, I just run clipless pedals. Right now, I have some CD. I also have Shimano. Giro, I think, is the main shoe I have. It's got a carbon sole to it, super stiff, clips in, things like that. So mountain biking here, BMX here, gravel riding, and anytime I do events, like when I do the Schwalmingen 40 or any kind of mountain bike event that where I want to have the fastest time, I will clip in for that. But for almost all of my mountain biking, I'm on this style pedal. Platform metal pins can be, I have a combination of aluminum body and composite body. So this is it. The reason why I do this more, I used to always be clipped in, but the technology here has gotten so much better. The pedal technology is amazing, but then now we have shoes, and the shoes really make a big difference. So let me grab a pair and I'll show you. Okay, here is my 510s. I've had these a little over a year. You can tell they've seen a lot of cayuna and just a lot, I don't ever clean them. I probably should, but this is what the bottom looks like. And you can see that it's kind of chewed up a little bit where the pedal is. And that's actually a good thing, that the pedal really bites in. And even though these are chewed up and kind of worn out a little bit, they still grip equally as good. And these shoes, and there's other brands too. 510 is just the one I choose to use. And these are the Free Ride. They're the Free Ride Pros. Jeez, do they even say on them? I don't know. I get the nicer ones that are more breathable, and if they get wet, they dry out really fast. So they grip. Nice flat bottom. That's what you want. You don't want a running type shoe that has like all the different open gaps and stuff. You want something that has a nice consistent flat bottom so all of your pins connect. And this shoe with a BMX pedal actually works pretty good too, believe it or not. Really grippy here. No. And since I'm talking about shoes, we'll talk a little bit about Vans too. These are Vans BMX specific shoes. They have a little bit different tread pattern than the skate shoes on the bottom, and mainly this area. They're not nearly as soft. You can see I've ridden with these quite a bit. They're not all chewed up. Basically meaning they're not as soft as the 510 shoes. Will these grip pretty good? Yes. I mean, they grip pretty good on these pedals, and they grip pretty good on these pedals. I kind of want, because these are what I wear when I ride BMX. I don't wear these mountain biking. So they grip pretty good on here. And this, for me, when I'm riding BMX or my DJ bike, is like the perfect combo. This, I don't know. It's okay. I could do it, but I just prefer my 510s to get the really good grip on these pedals. And these pins really dig into that softer sole. So, yeah. BMX for me. A little bit harder sole, but definitely softer, you know, to get good traction. And a different shoe for the mountain bike pedal. So yeah, it's kind of, you know, I don't think a lot of people think about this kind of stuff for mountain biking. They just, whatever they got on their feet, whatever pedals came on their bike, or whatever the bike shop said to use, they just hop on and go. But for me, it's really important to have the right equipment, the right footwear, and the right pedal for what type of riding I'm doing. And that's mainly because I don't want my foot unexpectedly slipping off. I don't want it to be not predictable. It's just one of those really important things. And these shoes, wow, these shoes are over 10 years old. I want to say I got these shoes in like 2011, 2012, something like that. And they're still, it's got a carbon bottom. Still, I've probably switched cleats out a few times. But the shoe itself, I don't run the little spikes or whatever. Obviously one of these have fallen out. I just don't even care. I mean, I'm definitely due for newer shoes, but I have to say, you know, the toe's a little chewed up. These Giro shoes have proven the test of time. None of the buckles have broken. They've just held up great. And you can see they've been through a lot. But these, combined with Time pedals, this is a Time cleat. They work really good. So, yeah. So there you have it. Pedals and shoes. Something you definitely want to think about. I always talk about the contact points on the bike. Those are three things. It's your pedals, your feet to the pedals, your seat, another really important part of your bike that you should make sure is correctly fit to you, and your grips. Make sure your grips are super comfy, grippy. If you sweat, you still want to be able to hold on to them. Maybe you wear gloves, something like that. And grips, saddle, pedals, and shoes, probably some of the more important parts of your bike, but probably the stuff that's most often overlooked too. Appreciate your support for my channel. Please like and subscribe. Peace.